Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney and today is Friday, November 19th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off today capping off a story that we have been talking about all week long, the trial that's gotten national attention, the murder trial for Kyle Rittenhouse. We do know now that the jury has acquitted him on all charges that he faced, stemming from his actions where he shot and killed 2 people and wounded a 3rd person during protests against racial injustice in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Specifically, people were protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man who was shot by a white officer. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse was very emotional as the result was read from the jury verdict. He teared up, he fell to the floor, he hugged one of his attorneys. He had been charged with homicide, attempted homicide, and reckless endangering after the killing of those men and the wounding of the 3rd using an AR-style semi-automatic rifle. This trial has become a flashpoint across the country in the debate over guns, vigilantism, and racial injustice in the U.S. As a reminder, he did come from another community to defend property during those protests. He could have gotten life in prison if he had been found guilty on the most serious charge, first-degree intentional homicide, or what some other states call first-degree murder. But again, that did not happen. He was acquitted on all charges that he faced in the trial in Wisconsin. Today, history was made as Vice President Kamala Harris became the first woman to hold presidential authority. It wasn't for very long. It was for 85 minutes while President Joe Biden underwent a colonoscopy. Now, this is a standard part of the presidential physical. This was his first presidential physical as a president. So for 1 hour and 25 minutes, he was under anesthesia at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He transferred the power back to himself. Kamala Harris transferred the power back to Joe Biden at about 11:35 a.m. after speaking with White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain and Vice President Kamala Harris. So, pretty routine. This is something that happens in most presidencies. It did not happen in the previous administration, but because of the current set of circumstances, because we have our first female vice president in Kamala Harris, not only our first female vice president, but also the first person of color and person of South Asian descent to be vice president, we did have the first woman to hold presidential power today on Friday, November 19th, albeit just for 1 hour and 25 minutes. Now, here in Northeast Ohio, there were protests today from workers at the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals protesting COVID-19 vaccine mandates. This is because the federal government's Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, shorthand is CMS, is requiring healthcare workers at certain facilities that participate in Medicare and Medicaid be fully vaccinated. This is one of President Joe Biden's initiative to increase the vaccinations across the country. So as a result, both the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals are requiring vaccinations for their staff by January 4th, 2022. Now, university hospitals released the following statement. They said the overwhelming majority of our caregivers are vaccinated against COVID-19, and we encourage those who remain unvaccinated to receive their shots. Throughout this pandemic, our caregivers have continued to rise to the occasion to serve our community, our patients, and to take care of each other. Cleveland Clinic released this statement. Federal mandates are clear that healthcare workers must be fully vaccinated at hospitals regulated by CMS. As a health system, if we do not comply with the CMS vaccination requirements, this would have a direct and extraordinary impact on our ability to care for patients, including potentially limiting critical health services we can offer. We value each of our caregivers and are proud that the majority of our caregivers are already vaccinated. We are strongly encouraging those who are not yet vaccinated to receive their vaccine as quickly as possible so they can continue helping us care for our community. Now, here is a good point to mention for people who have not yet gotten the COVID vaccine. If you are eligible to get the COVID vaccine, of course, you know it is now available for children ages 5 and up. If you are eligible, if you're, ages 5 or older, if you start that vaccination process this week, you will be fully vaccinated by Christmas. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health. In the last 24 hours, we have seen 6,429 new reported cases of COVID-19. So 3 days in a row now, we've seen numbers in the 6,000 for new reported COVID-19 cases. The updated number of people who have died related to COVID-19 here in Ohio is now 26,063. There are currently 2,963 people being treated in the hospital. for COVID-19, and of those people, 787 are being treated in an intensive care unit. Now, as we talk about the human victims of COVID-19, you know, there have been many sectors that have also been hit hard by COVID-19. One of those is the restaurant industry, and our food editor, Doug Tratner, talked with celebrity chef Michael Symon, who is from the Northeast Ohio area, about why he closed Lola, a very popular restaurant of his, first opened in the Tremont neighborhood before later moving to East 4th Street. He did close that in late 2020. And he said that it was, you know, the pandemic was a major factor in that. He said the pandemic hit, you had to be 6 feet apart, you couldn't get the level of service that people expect. He said, yes, it's about the food, but it also is about the service. It's also about the experience. So that was one of those reasons that Lola needed to be closed. But now, Chef Michael Symon is looking towards other things. And, you know, he's always got a lot going on. He has a new show coming out on the Food Network. He's got multiple shows already on the Food Network, and he's got a new cookbook coming out, a new Fix It with Food cookbook, talking about cooking for people with autoimmune issues. But he says he's in semi-retirement now, so he jokes he's only working 60 hours a week now. So he's spending more time with his son Kyle and the grandchildren and his wife Liz and doing all of that. So really enjoying his role as a grandfather, making an effort to consciously slow down. You can see his talk with Doug Tratner on WKYC.com right now, and I will actually have the opportunity to sit down and chat with Chef Michael Symon. He'll be on my 3 Things to Know podcast. That podcast episode drops December 6th, so if you're interested in hearing more from Chef Michael Symon, and he tells me a little bit about some of the things we can see in his cookbook that we haven't seen before, and what his favorite recipes are. That's always a good tip to get from the chef, what their favorite recipes are in the cookbook. So again, that'll be in the 3 Things to Know podcast. That comes out on December 6th. Now, speaking of being a grandparent, here is just a weird story out of Georgia that a lot of you are clicking on WKYC.com that we have to share. A grandmother was actually kicked out of a hotel and had police called on her for leaving a bad review for the hotel while she was staying at the hotel. This was in Helen, Georgia. This is Susan Ledger. She was 63 years old. She had checked into a hotel. She had her 6-year-old granddaughter with her. It was supposed to be a 3-night stay. They were in their pajamas. It was about 8:30 in the evening. She got an email from Hotels.com and said, "How was your stay?" And she responded. She gave the hotel 3 out of 5 stars. And then they said, "Well, what's going on? Why 3 out of 5 stars?" And she said that it was run down, pool's not open, and toilet doesn't flush well. So after that happened, she got a phone call from the manager of the hotel at 8:40 p.m. telling her to get out, and then the Helen Police Department knocking on her door. She said it was very scary, and she asked them, "Is this actually true? Is this possible? Can I really be kicked out for leaving a review of 3 stars out of 5 stars? And the officer said, "Yes, ma'am, it's within the law." She said it was scary, it was horrifying. The officer actually helped her check into a different hotel. The manager said he was going to give her a refund, but it took 2 months for her to get that refund, and it only came after the reporter on the story contacted Hotels.com about it. So just an absolutely wild story. And by the way, there is a law in Georgia that you can't kick someone out of a hotel without giving them at least as much notice as what they've already paid for. So in this case, she had paid for 3 days, but there is an exception that allows for cause such as failure to pay or abide by the rules or failure to have reservations or other action by a guest. So it's that other action by a guest that really allowed Susan Ledger to be kicked out in this situation. She got to a new place, and, you know, hopefully it was a nicer place and hopefully it didn't cost her a lot more money, and she did get her money back, but just kind of a wild story. Speaking of wild things, today the Cleveland baseball team has officially changed its name. They are now the Cleveland Guardians, so we'll be referring to them as the Cleveland Guardians moving forward. They opened up the team shop at Progressive Field. They sold a bunch of merchandise. They put the new sign up. They put the new sign up for a moment, but then the new sign fell. Yikes, that was a moment that happened today. What happened was there was a brand new Cleveland Guardians sign that was above the team shop, and when they put it up, something happened. The facade that it was attached to broke, and the sign fell to the ground, and it broke. And we did hear from the Cleveland Guardians that nobody was seriously hurt, thank goodness. Very unfortunate situation today that the sign was destroyed, and it will have to be replaced. Some of the other things that happened today, they now have a new social media handle. It is not the old team name anymore. It is now CLE Guardians. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. The website is now cleguardians.com. Yes, cleguardians.com. And the bio says, new C, same city. And they did say, interestingly enough, that they will get more of the old team mascot merchandise in, but it's been depleted. And they said that they'll be donating proceeds from that old team merchandise, the previous name, to support the mission of preparing youth for success. That's definitely been a controversial move, as they will continue to apparently sell the old merchandise, at least for a little while. But a lot of fanfare going on today at Progressive Field with the opening of the new team shop. So if you want to get your Cleveland Guardians gear, you can now do that at Progressive Field's team shop. And if you are a fan of whiskey, Rocky River has a place that has a pretty rare Irish whiskey to the tune of $45,000. It's Middleton Very Rare Silent Distillery Chapter 2. That's the name of the bottle of whiskey. Only 70 bottles were produced. This came out of Middleton Distillery in County Cork in Ireland, so across the pond in Ireland. And if you're willing to pay a steep price, you can be one of the first people to try it. This is at Gormley's Pub in Rocky River. They're hosting the Middleton Festival of Whiskeys on December 6th and 7th. December 6th is sold out, but there are still tickets for December 7th. This bottle of whiskey has 20 pours, and there are 20 tickets available, and each of them are going for $2,350. So for about $2,400, you can have yourself a taste of this very rare $45,000 bottle of Irish whiskey. You can get the tickets in person at Gormley's Pub and the Irish Barber during regular business hours. Or if you're not in town locally, you can call Sean Gormley. We've got his phone number on WKYC.com. It's 440-554-3530. Again, it's 440-554-3530 if you want to buy a ticket over the phone. And as we continue to look forward to more entertainment coming here to the Northeast Ohio area, 21 Pilots are coming to Cleveland. They will be here on August 30th. This is part of The Icy Tour 2022. So the tour kicks off on August 18th, and they will be at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on August 30th. Those tickets go on sale November 24th at 10 a.m., so you got a little bit of time before those tickets go on sale. But they've also released a surprise digital deluxe version of their new album, Scaled and Icy, so that's on all streaming platforms. And it's also been released on vinyl, so if you're a vinyl fan, you can get it that way. Scaled and Icy did debut at number 3 on the Billboard 200, and that's the best opening week for a rock album in 2021. You can get more information on the Icy Tour 2022 on the band's website, which is linked on WKYC.com. And that's it for your 3 News Now update today for Friday, November 19th. Thank you for being here for the top stories. Hey, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Get outside if you can. It's going to be a little chilly, according to our meteorology team here at 3 News. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday with more 3 News Now.